For my part of the presentation, I thought at first that I would do an explanation of my process going through all this, and then I realized it's probably not very useful or very, to you guys in general. So I thought instead that to add to this talk, I would do a little talk about how to find that special geek for your own little collaboration in case this, this inspires you to something. So now, as the master of the robot, the one who brought it, introduced, brought the whole thing. Personally, I have a unique set of skills, which, you might have, interest in using and things like that, but we're not exactly something where you find us commonly within the art community yet, but we're growing. Sorry. All right. Better, sorry. All right, so I thought I'd do a little talk here. How to go about this process for yourself when you're looking, for myself. So first of all, we start with an idea. And as the birth mother of the idea, Shard here, had this concept involving a line following a robot. So step one, we have a project. Step two, she realizes, of course, that she does not possess the technical skills. She gets to Z as the artist, and they're like, oh, well, okay, we have half of the collaboration. So they start making a list of things that they need in their little hunt for a robot master. Now, this is something, of course, that you would always do when you're doing something like this, is make a list, what do you need? Then we start searching. Now, making a list is sort of the easy part. Searching is sort of the easy part. Where is the hard part? So, hints, suggestions, ideas, and things like that. When you're dealing with situations like this, when you're looking for what we could basically describe as an engineer, which is where I could be roughly classified as a robotics engineer, we're dealing with a particular type of individual or group of individuals. So you have to go looking for them in their watering holes, so to speak. Now, if you're looking for artists, well, if you know where to find an artist, galleries, shows, paint, you have their watering holes. We have engineers with their watering holes. So it's sort of the idea of like, where do we find these individuals? Now, this is part of what attracted me to the Spark was this concept is that they're very separate, they're viewed as very separate disciplines. And that's not always the case. It's not something where collaboration is common yet, but I'm hoping that as part of this project we can make it more happen. So, but as an engineer myself, I'm familiar with my side of individuals, engineers, and a lot of us are attracted to the art community. So, like myself, we don't have the skills required for art, but we certainly have that inspiration and things like that. So, when you want to start something searching for an individual who will fulfill this role, you're actually in luck because there actually are people out there interested. And, of course, very skilled at doing what they're doing. Now, making connections and things like that, that's the difficult part. And it's not easy to just give you a bunch of lists because it all depends on what you're looking for. But I can start by saying, first of all, thank God for the internet. It is so changed, radically changed, because that search for information is out there. But like I said, if you're looking for watering holes and stuff like that for your geeks, as we're saying here, surprisingly enough, they happen to be on the internet. Tablets, stuff like that. So searching for them begins with simple things like Google search. Google search, great idea. Now, of course, searching for these guys, part of the problem with this is that we're not artists, we're engineers, so we're a different mentality. So learning to deal with our kind of stuff like that and find the ones that fit into what you're deciding for your project and things like that You have to learn geek speak, as we call it. And you probably just watch The Big Bang Theory, you'll start there. But the premise to the whole thing here with this is that engineers are problem solvers. Artists, if we boil it down to far more creative, we can say that they create things. Engineers solve things. So with that idea, if you're looking for geeks, engineers, technicians, and stuff like that, if you start thinking of the problem as a problem that needs to be solved, your communication with these guys is going to go way better. So this is why we post these questions here, because anybody that you talk to has a technical background for this kind of stuff, this is immediately where they're going to start asking you. So learning to speak, and thinking about this as you're doing your project, great idea. Yeah, I guess that's it. Anyways, so as for actually finding us guys, there's a couple of places right now that have made that search much easier. And I'm going to talk quickly about what we call the maker movement. I don't know how many of you guys have ever been to a maker fair. So you guys have been there. Oh, great. Okay. As the classic. The maker movement is something, Google it. But what you're going to find is that the maker movement has begun to bring together artists on one side and the technically skilled on the other. And the projects coming out of that are just incredibly weird, incredibly unique. And if this interests you as far as what our project we've done here, the maker movement is where you want to find us. So hopefully that helps.